Before we begin, get your helmet on, okay? You need your helmet. If you're gonna watch this whole thing, alright, I'm gonna tell you right now, get the helmet, get it on, secure it tight, okay? Because this is a judge. And her definition of gender is sex. You need a helmet, okay? Okay. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Wise, why don't we start with you? Until earlier this year, you served on the board of the Alameda County chapter of Girls, Inc. Now, this is an organization that seems to do some good things, helping disadvantaged girls, but is one that's also taken some radical positions on sex or gender. Girls, Inc.'s definition of gender states that, quote, a girl is a young person who identifies as a girl, regardless of her assigned sex at birth, or who identifies as a girl while exploring gender identity or expression, close quote. Do you agree with this definition?
Good morning, Senator Lee. First, I will say that I believe what you're reading from is a policy regarding Girls Inc. National.
We
which I think
heard it.
might be
We
out
know.
of New York. My only role has been in the limited capacity.
I'm sorry. Did she just deflect and say out of New York? So it's okay because it comes out of New York? We don't know what's going on because it comes out of New York? Oh my gosh, come on. I need a new helmet.
National, which I think might be out of New York. My only role has been in the limited capacity in Alameda County, where I am. I have no familiarity with the remarks that you made. I'm not familiar with those comments.
You agree with them?
I mean, what I know of Girls Inc. is that it focuses on girls in our community, primarily starting at kindergarten for literacy.
Do you share the view expressed in the statement?
I don't have any opinion about those particular remarks from Girls Inc. National.
We've heard from many women, many of whom were sexual assault survivors, parents of girls, about the physical and psychological risks of being forced to share bathrooms, locker rooms, other facilities with biological males. Now, this concern is far from being just hypothetical. It's not one that's just being dreamed up. In Loudoun County, Virginia, just a few miles from here, a 15-year-old boy wearing a skirt and claiming to be a transgender girl was convicted of sexually assaulting two girls in girls' bathrooms at school at two different high schools. Now, the schools allowed him to be in the girls' bathroom because of the same bathroom policy that, from what I can tell, you seem to have advocated for. Now, have you considered how your advocacy and the positions you've taken on this front might adversely affect girls?
First of all, I will say I think there might be some confusion about the article that I wrote. The article that I wrote took no position about who should be able to
No
use a bathroom.
position?
Everyone should be safe, including girls and
No
women
position.
in all bathrooms, in locker rooms, everywhere. All of us should be safe. I care very much about the rule of law. I wrote nothing about people who are gay or straight or transgendered at all. My article had nothing to do with that.
Well, here's one of the things you say in that article, is going back to the Time magazine article. Quote, if modern science recognizes that sex has countless natural permutations, and if birth certificates, physical observation, and even chromosomal testing cannot reliably categorize every individual as either male or female, then our judiciary cannot be required to make gender findings antithetical to that reality. Could that not be extended to cover the kind of situation I described in Loudoun County? In other words, if you've got a bathroom policy that says that if you are a biological male and have been identified as such because you have male characteristics, you may not use a female bathroom.
I'm not sure if you were here a moment ago when I was speaking to this issue. My very limited concerns were about children at the moment of birth who a doctor cannot properly assign as male or female.
I understand that, but I think you would agree the quote I just read to you goes well beyond that. And so it's one thing to make the statement, as you were suggesting a moment ago, one that might apply in one out of 120,000 cases where you've got a very rare genetic abnormality or something like that, Klinefelter syndrome or something of the like. But the statement I just read is much broader than that, is it not?
So the statistics I am familiar with the World Health Organization indicates that it's approximately 1 in 2,000, 1 in 20,000 that are serious. That is a baby born every other day. I think that
the 1 in 2,000 figure is based on much different criteria, and it's not actually intersex positions. We're running out of time. I want to turn to Ms. Provenzino for a moment. Ms. Provenzino, you spent some time with the Advocates for Human Rights. This is a group that has at times taken some very radical positions. Now, among other things, they've made statements suggesting that they see their more conservative neighbors as oppressors, stating, quote, today's anti-transness and anti-queerness is largely rooted in Euro-American colonialization, forced assimilation into Christianity as part of the process of cultural genocide, and the imposition of a gender binary and normative forms of sexuality. You stand by your association with this group, and do you agree with that statement?
I worked with Advocates for Human Rights as the inaugural Wellstone Legal Fellow immediately after clerking for Judge Diana Murphy.
Where did she get in here?
That was in 2004 to 2006. I have no familiarity with these statements, nor do I take any position on them, Senator.
Okay, so you don't disagree with them now. Let me just ask one more follow-up question. I'll be done. The same group has made some other statements touching on things within the state of Minnesota. Last year, the group wrote about racism in Minnesota. Quote, this was an unprecedented opportunity of the Twin Cities community to address the systemic state-sanctioned violence against Black and brown communities in Minnesota. Time and time again, Minnesota's elected leaders have failed to make meaningful change in the state's law enforcement practices and accountability mechanisms. Now, do you believe that the state of Minnesota and its elected officials are fostering state-sanctioned violence against ethnic minorities?
I'm not familiar with that statement, but as you're phrasing it and explaining it to me, I do not agree with that, Senator.
Okay, I see my time's expired.
Thank you, Senator Lee. Thank you very much, Senator Klobuchar.
Very good.
Brilliant people.
Chair Durbin is going to be a
Rich, brilliant people. Did you hear a doctor can't... Doctor gets the baby out. And it has to worry about a pronoun. I said, I can't write on the thing, the birth certificate, male, female, and we move on. Can we just move on?